everybody, this is Peter Janulis from the Academy Pro and the academyhome.com websites. Welcome to this month's searchsecurity.com screencast. We're going to be looking at Smoothwall. So what is Smoothwall? Let's jump right into this here. Smoothwall is basically a Linux distribution that you grab from smoothwall.org. That it's basically meant to be an open source firewall. Some of the key features in Smoothwall, which is really cool. A lot of people look at Linux distributions and figure, okay, it's only for, highly trained IT individuals and so on. They made Smoothwall easy enough for the home user to be able to use with no knowledge of Linux whatsoever. Supports a wide variety of network cards, as you can see here on the slide. Works with different connection methods from ISPs being PPPoE, DHCP, so on and so on. You basically manage and configure the entire firewall after the initial install via a web browser, which is really easy for home users as well as IT professionals that don't want to basically play on the command line all the time. The availability, VMware image, or an appliance, a VMware appliance, like most things nowadays, most open source things that is, as well as an ISO image. So what we're going to do in this video segment is we're going to actually install this in a VMware image. Where can you download it? Smoothwall.org. So let's go ahead and go to smoothwall.org, and we'll pick that up here, and we'll basically show you the website and where you can get the different distributions here. Alright, so we're on the website, as you can see here. If we go to the Get tab, you'll see under Downloads, you can grab the ISO here, the latest release, the admin guide, so on and so on. As you can see, the latest release was released in January of this year. Or we can go to Get VMware Images here and grab the VMware image, and that's basically what we're going to do. So we'll go ahead, start the download, and get things going here. Alright, so we're not going to sit through the whole download. Obviously, we don't want you to watch that. It's kind of boring. So let's assume now the download's done. We performed it earlier. We've saved it to our desktop, and we're going to go ahead and start the installation. So basically, we opened up our VMware session here, and we basically booted up off this ISO image or VMware appliance, and we're going to go ahead and install Smoothwall. Alright, so we press return to get things going here from our boot menu, and you'll see here it'll start to boot up and put us right into what we need to get this configured via the setup. Alright, as you can see, it doesn't take a long time to boot up. That's pretty much it. We didn't cut anything out of there. So basically, the first window we see is Welcome to Smoothwall Express. We're going to go ahead and press OK to install this. Please insert, obviously, the CD into the CD-ROM drive. So we'll go ahead and press OK, and the installation program is now going to prepare our hard disk. So /dev/HDA, and obviously, like every other warning, when we install something that's operating system capable, it's going to erase everything that's currently on that disk. So we'll go ahead and press OK. Alright, so it's going to partition our disk for us. So especially for that home user, right, that doesn't know much about partitioning any disk, it will basically do this stuff for us. So not only is this, while this is actually running, I'll basically talk a little bit more. Not only is Smoothwall good for home users, guys. It's not supposed to be a home user video, but it's actually really good for small organizations that can't basically afford their own firewalls. Instead of using IP tables or IP filters or whatever it may be, they can use something like Smoothwall that has, I'm not saying IP tables is a bad piece of a bad firewall to actually use, but Smoothwall is a lot easier to use, especially, again, if you don't have your own IT department being a small organization. Alright, so we'll see that our install is now done, and you can see that we can manage the actual firewall by pointing the browser to smoothwall:81, basically being the IP address of your system, or HTTPS smoothwall:441. Alright, so we'll go ahead and press OK there and continue through the setup of Smoothwall. Alright, so let's press OK, and we're going to go in and configure the different settings that you can actually configure for this product. Alright, so do we want to restore the config from a previous install? We're going to go ahead and say no, this is a fresh install. Alright, so choose the type of keyboard you're using from the list below. We're going to choose the US. This is standard in North America, at least, to use that. Press OK. Enter this machine's host name. So we'll go ahead and change that to the Academy Wall. We'll go ahead and press OK. And then what we want to use is basically with regard to our security policy. Okay, so here, if we choose open basically means all outgoing requests are allowed. Half open, most outgoing requests are allowed except for potentially harmful ones. So you have HTTP and probably SSH and so on and so on. Enclosed, all outgoing requests are blocked and must be explicitly enabled on all ports. Depending on what you want to do, if you have the experience to do so, I'd say close everything up and then enable what you want to enable when you're actually going through the web browser. We're going to go ahead and choose the default, which is half open, and go ahead and press OK. Alright, so our current config is green. We're going to actually look here at the network configuration type and show you some of the, default parameters that you're going to need to know, as well as the definitions between green and red. Let's go ahead here and do our drivers and card assignments as well as our network config. So we're going to go ahead and choose our network config type of green and red. Green essentially means the internal protected network. Red means the internet or the untrusted network. Okay, so we chose green and red. We'll go into drivers and card assignments here, and if we want to, we can go in and change these settings. So let's go ahead and probe the different network cards that we have, and it's detected an Intel Ether Express, and now we can define what this specific network card is going to actually be assigned to, and we're going to say green, and then our second card that it's found is going to be red. So basically, we've told the system which way traffic essentially flows, where red is the internet side and green is the protected side. So in here, we can come in as well and change our IP settings on our green interface as well as our red interface. And our green interface, we might want to keep as the defaults, or we can go in and change it depending on our network IP addresses on our IP addresses on our internal network. So in here, we can change it to 192.168.233.1. We can go ahead and press OK, and then we can go into our red, and then you can see here, because red is the internet side of things, we have the option of a static IP address, DHCP, PPPoE, and anything else you want. So we'll go ahead and leave that as DHCP. We'll press cancel, press OK, and done. Alright, so we can go in as well as configure our DNS settings, nice and easy. Whatever you want your DNS settings to be, or whatever they are, via your ISP, or if you're running your own internal DNS servers. Alright, so we can cancel out of that, press done. Now in here, we can basically select the different other items we want to configure. We can configure a DHCP server, ADSL connection, ISDN, web proxy, whatever it may be, or we can just skip over this section if you're not going to be using any of these features on your Smoothwall. Alright, in this case, we're looking at our web proxy settings, but we're not going to actually change those. We just wanted to actually show them to you. And go ahead and click on Finish. Alright, so in here, very important, change your passwords. You don't want to use the defaults, okay? Some of the default passwords with a lot of free software are essentially really easy, so that you guys don't have to remember a really long, complicated password when you're first building the actual firewall or piece of software. So we've changed our password. We're going to press OK, and then we're now going to change our root user password. So the one we just changed was admin, and this one is root. And go ahead and press OK. And as soon as we do that, we've completed our setup. Smoothwall will essentially reboot, and then we can connect to it. That's pretty much what we wanted to show you guys in this video, is basically how easy it is to install Smoothwall, being a Linux-based firewall, and then going ahead and manage it. I wish we had some more time where we can actually log on with the web GUI, make changes to it. Basically though, we don't have that much time in this actual screencast. Maybe another one. So some of the points to remember, guys: Linux-based firewall is extremely easy to manage. It's available as an ISO or a VMware image or system, that is. Runs effectively on older hardware, which is really important, especially being a smaller company or being a home user that doesn't have the actual hardware to do so. And the best part is, always, guys, it's 100% free. Thanks very much again, guys. Peter Janulis from the Academy Home and the academypro.com. We'll definitely see you on next month's SearchSecurity.com screencast. Take it easy.